So where we left off last time, I think we had a snow day and my whole schedule was like completely messed up. And I don't remember where I am in the process video wise. So I'm just gonna have to start and we'll see what happens. So the last time I recall being here, I had purchased a different pattern for a top and was going to use this fabric, the same fabric that I'm making my jacket out of. Unfortunately, the way this pattern is cut, that's not going to be possible. I've looked at it from about 15 different possibilities and it's just not going to happen. So I'm going to move my jacket pattern over here. It's already been cut out. Huh. I keep finding little pieces of projects that I thought I had finished and they're just scattered to the four winds. So perfect. All right. This is part of the wedding stuff, so I'll have to put it over here for now. Okay, so here is the top that I'm going to make to go under my jacket, but it's not going to have the high-low back. Whoops, let's see if we can get this to focus somewhat. So you see where the top has a high front, low back. I'm just going to cut it the same front and back. I don't think that would really look good underneath the jacket that I'm going to be making. And as much as I love this embroidered fabric, it just doesn't seem like that would fit either, as much as I love it. The great thing about it is I have enough that I can make something else with it. Maybe sometime after the wedding, I will find a project that I can do with this delicious fabric. And the nice thing about it was, is that it was not overpriced. It was marked down. I got it on Amazon as usual. And I mean, it is just, I'm not normally one for the glitz and the glamour of embroidered and sequined fabric, but there's just something about this. I think it might be the crushed flavor. I don't know what to call it. And it's kind of a wheat color, so it's not garish, you know, it's not like a gem color, or a solar system color. It's just kind of an earthy tone that's not too dark or not too light. Kind of would go with everything. But being a redhead, you do tend to look at those things, at least I do. I remember one of my saddest moments as a child was being invited by a musician to go to her concert. She was playing the guitar and singing some folk songs. Well, I think kind of folk songs. I'm not 100% sure. And the reason I'm not 100% sure is because I didn't actually get to go. I wanted to wear this purple, no, it wasn't purple. It was orange. It was an orange dress. And you have to understand, this was back in the early 70s. I was like maybe 10 or 11. And it was an orange dress, and it had little red flowers, almost kind of a prairie type ditzy print little thing. And my mother was absolutely not having it. And I was brokenhearted. And I decided in my little 10 or 11-year-old brain that to not go at all was better than to have to go wearing something that redheads could wear. And I never did get to go. She of course had to leave without me. Okay, so I've decided what I'm going to do instead of making the top out of that fabric is I'm going to make it out of the fabric that I purchased for the pants. However, I absolutely have to be sure that I have enough fabric for the pants because this is what I'm making the pants from. And if that doesn't happen, I'm going to be devastated. So in the end, if I end up having to purchase, like a lacy camisole top or something to go under the jacket, if I just don't have time to make something, then once again, I can make this top another time out of different fabric. So the top I'm going to set aside. Just going to put it out of the way. I need to make sure this is a piece. What is this? 7324, 7324. So all this goes together. Okay. Alrighty. And if I'm not mistaken, I need to go locate my my fabric scissors that I've been trying to hide. It seems like when you're getting ready for a wedding, you've got people that are just going to tear apart your sewing room looking for stuff. And I've been hiding my really good scissor tail scissors. And I might have hidden them from myself this time. And we're in the process, coincidentally, of getting our house ready to sell. Here they are, in a while. So that involves painting and all that fun stuff that goes along with selling a house. So my kitchen is torn all to pieces. I have people coming from out of town, and it's just fabulous. All right, here's piece one of the pants, and that's the back, and then this is not anything with the pants. Actually, what I think, this is right. This is probably a pants pocket, which you tell yourself no, and then you realize, wait, yes. Piece number 5 is a lower section of something else. Oh, for the pants, for A and B. Okay. Well, where in the heck is, this looks promising right here. Yes, piece 2. All right. So they're wide-legged pants with an elastic waist. I really wanted to go with a flowy fabric. Yep, okay. So I chose a gauze, also purchased from Amazon. Now what I'm doing is I don't want to stretch my fabric too much. It has some stretch in it. So it's, I mean, it's, you know, it's easily manipulated. You just have to be careful. Okay, so I'm smoothing it out. It's going to require just patience and time, and, you know, if you feel when you're working with a fabric like this that it just wants to like move around and blah blah blah, and you can't get it to do the way it needs to, I have literally walked away just for 5 minutes, make a cup of tea, make a cup of coffee. Oh, for heaven's sakes, you know, if it's late enough in the day and you can get away with it, have a sip of wine. Just walk away, and then, you know, 5 minutes later, come back. Just like if you were on the job and you'd been there for 2 hours and it was time for you to take a break. Take a break. Do yourself a favor. 5 minutes won't kill the project, but impatience and irritation and all that will definitely kill a project. So that's my little personal sewing tip that I try to adhere to. All I can say is, if you still have a landline, I know a lot of people have just kind of gotten rid of them over the years. But if you do still have a landline, unplug your phone or turn it off, or, you know, it isn't so much that you're not going to answer the phone. It's the ringing that just sends you, you know, off into another dimension. But if you don't have to listen to it, just turn it down, turn it off. Give yourself the freedom to be creative without all those distractions. Alright, I'm smoothing and smoothing and smoothing because I don't want it to be uneven on the underside, but I'm trying really hard not to just stretch the fabric all out of proportion. And it's easy enough for me to feel where those little wrinkly spots are. Okay, so what I have here is one back piece to the pattern, and what we're going to do is cut 2 back pieces. I haven't completely trimmed this out yet. I'm trying to decide if I want to trace it or cut it or mark it on my fabric. And I think because the fabric is so goofy, and by goofy I mean, you know, shifty, I think what I'm going to do this time, and because it's for a wedding, is I'm going to just go ahead and cut where I need this pattern to be cut. I typically don't do that. If you know me, you know I always try to save, preserve, keep all of the sizes in a multi-size pattern. But the other thing I do, if I actually have to cut it out, and I'm going to give myself a little bit of leeway this time and do that, is I'll mark on the pattern envelope single size, and that way I know that I had to do it. Alright, and I'm not using my scissor tail. I'm using a very old pair of Gingers. They're about 25 years old. I've not had them sharpened, so they work just fine for cutting out paper. Alright, is this the top yet? Okay. But I would not use my fabric scissors on paper because it will dull and harm your blades, and I don't like to do that. Okay, so there's that, and then across the bottom, yeah, So if you have any tips or tricks or thoughts about, how to set up a sewing day for yourself where you treat it like the pleasurable activity that it should be, go ahead and leave those comments. I know they would be well received and appreciated by the rest of us in the sewing community. Okay, and then I have piece 2, which is the front. And this is for all of the views of the pants in the pattern selection. What you end up doing to change those is primarily at the bottom of where the lower edge of the pants fall. I believe one of the, well, here, I'll just get that pattern envelope and we will look at it. There we go. So there we go. There's all the different views. And I am making this view here, view E, where it's just a solid all the way down. I'm not doing the harem pants, I'm not doing whatever that is, I'm not adding gathers, and I'm not making the shorter version which they show on the front cover there. It would be really cute, but that's not what I want to do. I believe this right here, view E, yeah, right here is the view that I'm making, and they're all really cute, but not for a wedding. And if you're wondering why the mother of the bride is wearing this, it's because I am injured. I have been battling multiple injuries and recovery has been crazy since my return from Alabama, and I don't want to wear a dress because some of the recovery issues are visible, and I want to be comfortable. I don't want to be upset. I don't want to be stressed out thinking about it. I don't want to put that kind of pressure on myself. So I just decided to go with something that I knew I would be comfortable in. Of course, I ran it by my daughter, who is very accommodating and understanding. It's formal enough without being so uncomfortable that, I just can't survive. My shoes are so cute that I hope everybody is looking at my shoes. Oh, and I have a piece of hair jewelry that will kind of sparkle and shine. But since I'm completely in charge of the dessert table, I'm going to be on my feet for a large portion of the day, and that really tends to wear on me in my recovery, and I don't want to be so worn out that putting on some kind of fancy smancy dress is just going to put me over the top as far as stress goes. I want it to be a good day. So that's why we talked about it and we decided this was the best option for me under the circumstances. And I was looking online, and to be honest with you, that seems to be a trend anyway. I noticed that places like David's Bridal, that they have just oodles and oodles and oodles of mother of the bride pantsuit kind of things. I have a tile floor, so every time I move that chair, it makes that horrifying animal sound. Okay, so for the front, which is what I've got right here, piece number 2, I'm going to be cutting 2 pieces. And then for the back, which is piece number 1, I'm going to be cutting 2 pieces. The thing is, when you're cutting out pants, you kind of sometimes have to worry about the repeat print, which I don't have to on this. You have to worry about the nap. I don't have to worry about that on this fabric. You need to be thinking about right side, wrong side, and for that reason I'll be cutting both pieces on the same, face up on the same side of the fabric. I can't tell a difference, but there is one thing this fabric does have, and that is a vertical line. It's definitely a gauze, so it's got that straight, almost straight line. I don't even know if that's showing up on the camera. Let me see if I can get you down a little bit closer. So hopefully you can kind of see that there are some straight lines within the kind of built into the fabric. So what I need to be mindful of is that of course in this case they would be, but my pant pattern is going top to bottom, front, and not sideways for the back. That would look really weird, and I don't even know if I could do that. I'd have to piece the fabric together. But it's something to think about. Sometimes you have to actually unfold your fabric to get things to all line up. And my fabric is not very wide, so I'm going to be using more this way and less widthwise. The pattern actually shows this piece number 1, up beside this piece, because if your fabric is super wide, then you can do it that way. But on this fabric, we cannot do it in that manner, so I will be doing it like this. The pants also have a pocket, and I really like pockets. I just don't know. I think maybe I'm going to go ahead and cut it out. I'm probably going to, I think I might just go ahead and do the pocket. It's one of those very simple pockets. And the other piece relating to the pants is this long elastic guide right here. And it is also sized for all 3 of the multi-sizes in the pattern selection here. So I'm going to put this over here. And that's that other one. Cut that out. All right, so That was so confusing. I had a different pattern instruction set that I was looking at, and I knew it wasn't right, but boy, that was confusing because my pattern pieces weren't the same, and oh my goodness. Okay, so I'm using this layout right here. Oh, come on. There we go. Ish. Okay, so this is the one I'm using right here. Got my pin cushion. I may need to go get some new pins. These are really kind of gnarly. I recommend pinning however you're comfortable. You know, whatever works the best for you. If you're not really familiar with pinning fabric pattern pieces to fabric, it's a great idea to kind of practice. My mom, her mom, and my father's mom were incredible seamstresses, and they spent a lot of time helping me learn how to do the basics. So I've been pinning pattern pieces down onto fabric for a very long time, but their preferred method, and I tried it for a while, just I was so used to pinning that it didn't really work for me, but they loved weights. And when they first came out, you know, you could go to the fabric store and purchase a set of pattern weights. You know, my mom bought some and my grandmothers bought some, and then they realized we could just use table knives. Seriously, they would go into the kitchen and grab a whole handful of table knives and then just lay them out on the pattern and cut out their pieces. So, you know, there's just all sorts of methods that you can use to pin or weight or clip. Trace. Some people like to trace their patterns. I'm not big on that, although I have done it, and on occasion I still do it. It depends on the pattern and the fabric I'm using. I'm trying to make sure I'm not getting this. Okay, there's something. Oh, it's just, okay, it's a wrinkle, which a lot of the wrinkles in this fabric are going to be disguised because it's a flowy fabric and it is a gathered waist with elastic. So there's going to be just kind of a blurry area where some of the wrinkles might kind of be driving people crazy right now. Why has she not steamed that fabric? Well, because I've been doing all sorts of things, but taking care of my own clothing has been kind of a back burner issue. Shouldn't have been, but it has been. So anyway, you can pin or weight or trace, or, you know, however it works best for you in this particular case. Okay. And I'm ready. I think I might try to use my rotary cutter. And a ruler. I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. Okay. So, yeah, I like the idea of using a ruler. And again, it would weight it down if you're pushing, which is the way you should be, working with your rotary. Okay. I don't want that to slip, So I'm really gonna push. I'm gonna go slow. And if I get to an area where I just am uncomfortable, I'll use my scissors. I can tell that my rotary cutter is very dull, so I think it might be time to replace this blade. Excuse me. Okay. Oh, one of the byproducts of getting your house ready to sell is dust. It's so bad. I mean, up in the attic and just everywhere that we've been working. Oh my goodness. I am not thrilled, although I am thrilled. It's been an interesting journey being in Washington State, but I'm a Southern girl at heart, and I honestly cannot wait to get back, and I cannot wait to be back in close proximity so that I can take care of my little sister who really needs to be helped manage her disability. All I'm going to say is it is the year 2019, so if it's been 8 years since this video came out and you were wondering, you might now know, knowing that it's 2019, what we're going through here in the United States politically. So I am not going to say anything else. I'm just going to say that my little sister needs some help, and that's what I'm really aiming to do.